Hello everybody, it's the War Hipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are painting Abraxia, the spear of the Everchosen. Yes, here she is at long last. We've all been very much looking forward to her, and she's finally in my hands, courtesy of Games Workshop, who sent me this early to build up and paint up for all of you, and that is exactly what we are going to be doing today. It's absolutely incredible, and if you didn't know, there's a really cool helmeted head option, which is what I've gone for, because it looks sick. Look at it. It's awesome. Anyway, we should jump in, and we should start painting this. So, it's been primed Grace here, and the colour we're going to be using first is Poxwalker, and we're going to be applying this over the top of the entirety of the skin of the mount. Skin and scales, I should say. We'll start just up here. Work our way around, section by section, limb by limb. You just want to get this all over. So with all that Poxwalker applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lahmian Medium and Nighthaunt Gloom. And we're going to apply this over the top of the scales. Like this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to blend these scales into the hands. So we're going to bring it down like this. To round about there. Then we're going to wash the brush, touch off the water, and we're going to blend the two colours together so we get this nice little fade through into the Poxwalker. Like that. I'm going to do this across all of the legs and the body and the tail. So with that Nighthaunt Gloom all applied, we're then going to take some Drakenhof Nightshade, and we're going to apply this over the top of the Nighthaunt Gloom. But similarly, we're going to come down to around about there, not all the way down. Wash the brush, touch off the water, and then just blend it like so. And once again, just going to do this over the top of all of those same areas in exactly the same way. So with that Drakenhof Nightshade all applied all the way around, what we're then going to do is take a little bit of black Templar. And we're going to use this to pick out the little spikes scattered around the model. And with that black Templar now applied, we're then going to once again take black Templar and we're going to thin it down with roughly 2 parts Lahmian Medium to 1 part black Templar, and we're going to apply this over top of the tail spike like this, bringing it down to round about there, like that. We're then going to wash the brush, touch off the water, I'm just going to blend it into the rest of the tail, like that sort of thing. And we're just going to do this on the underside as well. Wash the brush. It's only really from that angle that you can really see it, but we'll still do it across all of it like that, and there we go. So with that done, for the last time, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Coelia Greenshade, and we're going to use this to shade over the top of the model, like that sort of thing. However, once again, wash the brush, and just around the tips of the fingers really, we just want to give it a little blend, just a little bit, not trying to kind of pull it all off, so we want to have a little bit of extra depth in those recesses. Just like that sort of thing. So with that all done, it's now time to move on to a different part of the model, which is going to be the inside of the mouth. And the colour we're going to be using for this is Guilliman Flesh. And just get this over the top of all the skin and the tongue. So with that then done, whilst we're waiting for it to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Cygor Brown and we're going to apply this over the top of the teeth, the claws and the leather. With all that Cygor Brown applied, we're then going to take some Black Legion and we're going to apply this over the top of all of the armor panels on the mount. We're going to tackle Abraxia herself after we've done this, but for now we're just going to keep things simple by working on the Drake, if indeed it is a Drake. Can't remember what it is. But for now, we're just going to work on it. With all of that Black Legion applied, we're then going to take some Ratling Grime and we're going to apply this over the top of these horns. With that Ratling Grime applied, and then going to take some Volupus Pink, and we're going to apply this over the Chaos Sigil just here. With that then done, we're going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour and we're going to apply this over top of all of the trim across all of that armour. With all that Retributor Armour applied, we're then going to take some Berserker Bloodshade. We're going to use this to shade the tongue and the inside of the mouth, and we're also going to apply this over the top of the Chaos Mark on the leg. With that Berserker Bloodshade applied, we then want to take some Skeleton Horde. And we're going to apply this over the top of the skull. So with that then done, our final colour, on the mount at least, is going to be some thinned down Iron Warriors. I'm going to apply this over top of all of these spiky horns, belt buckles, and stuff like that. So with that done, all of our base coats are now on the mount. So we are now going to move on and put base coats on Abraxia herself. And well, to be honest, there aren't that many different ones here. But what we are going to do now is we're going to start with the cloak. And the colour we're going to be using first for this is Baal Red. And we're just going to apply this over the top of all of the cloak. We're not going to apply this over the top of the scaly bit towards the top. We are going to apply this over the top of all of the smooth bit. And with that then done, we're going to do something, whilst we're waiting for the Baal Red to dry, we're going to do something that's going to look quite ugly. So we're going to take some Gryph-Hound Orange and we're going to apply this over the top of the cracks in the shield. It's going to look ugly because it's kind of just going to be this indiscriminate. Kind of blobbing on of paint. But what we're also going to do here with the Gryph-Hound Orange is going to apply this over the top of the spear. Just whilst we've got it open, might as well. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take a roughly 2 parts Cygor Brown to 1 part Blood Angels Red mix. And we're going to use this to do 3 different things. So the first thing we're going to do is over the scales here on the shoulder, we're going to apply this mix. Just like that. Then, over the top of the spear, not spear, we are going to get to the spear, but over the top of the cloak, we're going to apply this all over. Just like that sort of thing. And then similarly, over the top of the spear, what we want to do is from the tip, we want to apply this over the top to round about there, like that. Wash the brush, touch off the water, and then blend into the orange, like so. And so with that now done, as you can see, all the way around, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Black Legion. I'm going to apply this over the top of all of Abraxia's armour. However, we're also going to be applying this over the top of the shield. But rather than doing this over the top of the entirety of the shield, what we want to do is we want to just be very careful here around the orange edges. So you just want to pick out the flat bits of the cracks. that sort of thing. So with that all done now, what we can do is we can take some Cygor Brown and we're going to apply this over the top of any remaining leather details. With that then done, we're going to take some Blood Angel's Red and we're going to apply this over the bits of her face that you can see between the helmet. With that all done, we're then going to take two colours, Agrax Earthshade and Black Templar. I'm going to use this to do some work on her horns. So we're going to start with the Agrax Earthshade and we're going to apply this over the top. Just like this. Normally we wouldn't do both halves at once, but I've massively overloaded the brush here. I'm just going to wash the brush and pick some of that excess up. There we go, perfect. Oh, not quite perfect. A little bit too much just in there as well. There we go. Then we're going to wash the brush off. Grab some Black Templar. And then towards the tip of the horn, we're going to apply the Black Templar. Like so, around all corners. Wash the brush, and then just once again absorb and move around the paint so that the two colours blend together nicely, like that. With Abraxia's horns done, we're then going to take Agrax Earthshade on its own. And we're going to apply this over the top of the two wraps. So the one here on the sword and on the spear. Next up, we're going to do something we completely neglected to do earlier, which is to take some Black Templar and apply this over the tip of the mount's horns, like that. Wash the brush, touch off the water, and then blend the two colours together. And so with that then done, we're going to take Black Templar once again. I'm going to use this over the top of the kind of first two rungs of the shoulder. Like that. Bring it all the way around. Then we're going to wash the brush, touch off the water, and then we're just going to blend it in. Lots of blending on this one. So So with that all done, it's a little bit more blending. We're going to be using 3 colours: Iyanden Yellow, Gryph-Hound Orange and Blood Angels Red. And we're going to be applying this over top of all of the flames on the spear. So we're going to start with Iyanden Yellow. I'm going to apply this all over top of the flames. Like that. Come over and do the back half of it as well. Just like so. Then we're going to wash the brush and grab some Gryph-Hound Orange. And then towards the tip of the flame, we're going to apply the Gryph-Hound Orange. Again, on both sides. Wash the brush. Then grab a little bit of Blood Angels Red. I'm going to apply this towards the very tip. Of the flames like that. Wash the brush once more. And then if you need to, you can take just a little bit of Iyanden Yellow and use this to just move any paint around. So with that done, it now comes that time once again where we're going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour and we're going to apply this over top of all of the trim across Abraxia herself. The only bit we're probably not going to apply this, and I say probably not, we're definitely not, we're not going to apply this over top of, is the 8-pointed star on the shield. So this bit around here. We're not going to apply it over that. But what we are going to do is apply it over these little bits here. And so once more, with all that Retributor Armour applied, I'm going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors. I'm going to apply this over top of all of the remaining details. So finally, with all of our base coats now applied to Abraxia, it's time to add some shades. And the first of these is going to be some Nuln Oil. We're going to use this to shade all of the silver, all of the black, and these horns. That probably sounded anticlimactic. And with that then done, we're going to take some Agrax Earthshade. I'm going to use this to shade all the gold. And with all that Agrax Earthshade applied, we're then going to take some Fuegan Orange. I'm going to use this over the top of the blade and the flames. There's a band name in there. With that Fuegan Orange applied, we're then going to finally take some Berserker Bloodshade. We're going to use this to shade the scale of the cloak. And the cloak. So with that all done, Abraxia, Spear of the Everchosen, is now at what I would call a War Hipster battle ready. And she's looking pretty awesome. However, we're not going to leave it there. Of course not. We're going to take it to the next level. I'm going to do this by adding some highlights. Now, the first of these highlights is going to be some thinned down Deepkin Flesh. And we're going to be using this to highlight the skin. However, we're not going to be highlighting all of the skin. What we're looking to do is we're looking to add highlights like this to the paler parts around the feet and the face. However, when it gets to the actual main body, for example up here, what we want to do is we want to add a tiny little spot highlight to the sharpest points on those black scales. Spreading a little dot like this. With that Deepkin Flesh all applied, what we're now going to do is take some thinned down Cadian Fleshtone. And we're going to use this to do two things. So we're going to use this to highlight the scar of the sigil carved into his paw flesh. Well, I say paw. This thing's mean. But what we're also going to do with the Cadian Fleshtone, highlight the tongue. So with that Cadian Fleshtone applied, we're then going to take a tiny amount of Flayed One Flesh. I'm going to use this to add a little spot highlight to the tongue and the scar. So with that all done, we're then going to take some thinned down Karak Stone, and we're going to use this to highlight the teeth and the claws. With that Karak Stone all applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Dawnstone. I'm going to use this to highlight the horns. With that Dawnstone applied, we then need a tiny amount of Administratum Grey. I'm going to use this to pick out the sharpest points along the horns. With that Administratum Grey applied, we then want to take a tiny amount of Blood Angels Red. And that's too much. We want to take a tiny amount of Blood Angels Red and we want to apply this over the top of the eyes. Of our mount, like that. And like that. So with that then done, we want to take some thinned down Evil Sunz Scarlet. We use this to do quite a lot here. So what we want to do is we want to add quite a large dot of this over the top of the eyes. Like that, almost fully covering it. Like so. And then what we also want to do with the Evil Sunz Scarlet is you want to highlight the darkest sections of the spear blade. And the cloth of the cloak. So with all of that Evil Sunz Scarlet applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Fire Dragon Bright. And we're going to do quite a few different things here. So over the top of the eyes, we want to add a little dot of Fire Dragon Bright right in the middle. A little bit too much. Like so. We also want to pick out Abraxia's eyes. Right in there. And then we also want to use this to add some little spot highlights to the cloak. A little too heavy. There we go, that's perfect. And we also want to use the Fire Dragon Bright to add some little spot highlights to our Evil Sunz Scarlet sections. On the spear blade. But also to highlight the brighter sections towards the base. Just like that sort of thing. With that done, we've actually achieved quite a lot there. So what we're going to do now is move on. And we're going to take some thinned down Gorthor Brown. I'm going to use this to highlight all of the Cygor Brown leather, but also the scales on the cloak. And so with that now done, we're now going to start working on those big areas that we haven't got to yet, which is all of the armor. and, well, consequently all of the metallics as well, but that is for a little bit later. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Russ Grey, and we're going to use this to highlight all of the black armor. With all of that Russ Grey applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Fenrisian Grey. I'm going to use this to add a little spot highlight on the sharpest corners. Of all the black. With all that Fenrisian Grey applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Iron Breaker. I'm going to use this to highlight all the silver. With all that Iron Breaker applied, it's now time to finish Abraxia. The colour we're going to be using to do that is some thinned down Liberator Gold. I'm going to use this to highlight all the gold. Now this is going to take quite a long time. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, because it already looks pretty good, but once you get this Liberator Gold over the top of all the gold, it'll really sing. So just take your time. Take it bit by bit. And then once that's done, we'll come back for the base. So with all of that Liberator Gold applied as a highlight to all of the gold, Abraxia is now finished. She looks fantastic. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly work on the base. It's really very simple here. We're going to take some black Templar first. And we're going to apply this over top of all of the stonework. With all that black Templar applied, we're then going to take some wild wood. I'm going to apply this over top of the creeping vines slash wood. With all that wildwood applied, we then want to take some Cygor Brown. I'm going to apply this over top of the loose soil. Finally, with that Cygor Brown applied, We're then going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors. I'm going to apply this over the poor Steel Helm's helmet. Discarded. With that then done, it's time to take some Stirland Mud. I'm going to apply this over top of all this negative space. And so, as I'm sure you all guessed by now, we're going to finish things off by giving the entire base a dry brush of Tyrant Skull. And so, with the base now complete, Abraxia, the Spear of the Everchosen, is now finished. And this is a wonderful way to sign off what has been, for me, an absolutely fantastic edition of Age of Sigmar. Very much looking forward to AOS 4, but it's really nice to have this right at the end. I just love it, and I think it looks incredible. Yeah, I'm really pleased with this one. I don't know if you can tell. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.